Blue Monkey. Blue Monkey is a brewery based in Giltbrook in Nottingham. It's a family-run brewery, been going for 7 years now.
Here, it's Blue Monkey. It's actually a nice family environment. The branding came from the flames that used to be on a site here. What it was locally known as were the Blue Monkeys, which were the flying flames within the factory environment. And we decided that we would take this on board and use Blue Monkey as a logo. And it's become a UK brand that we're known for now because of the image that we've got on our paperwork, on our pump clips, on our bottle labels, and also on our vehicles now. My specific job is to actually control the brewing side. My background is more in the planning industry, but which helps me because I can plan all the brews and what goes out. We monitor levels of our beers, and we do that on a weekly basis to make sure that we are staying in line with our customer base. And also we incorporate a special brew, which is usually on a monthly basis. So we throw that in. We have 7 core beers, but we throw the one in just to keep everybody sort of excited.
How did I become a brewer? That was sort of by accident. I'm Martin Howard. I'm the head brewer of Blue Monkey. Job entails day-to-day running of the brew process and the brew plant.
My name's Barry Shaw. I'm the assistant brewer here at Blue Monkey Brewery. My roles entail obviously brewing, stock taking, brew preps.
The whole brewing process basically starts with malted barley that is then loaded into a big grist case, all the dry ingredients, and then we rehydrate that into the mash tun. Then
we sparge it to let the water soak through, which brings all the sugars out of the grist.
And then collect the sweet wort at the bottom of the mash tun and collect it back into a boiling vessel. So that process takes around about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And at certain points through the boil, which is an hour long, we put in hops of different varieties for different flavours.
The hop oils are released, and from that process it goes over to the fermenting vessels where we add the yeast.
And over a period of between 3 to 7 days, the yeast ferments, eats all the sugar up and produces the alcohol that we want. So that's just basically what happens.
We've won, I think the total now is 58 awards since 2010. 3 of those have been the Supreme Champion of Nottingham, and last year we actually won the champion overall for cask and bottle beer, which was for our new brand of Right Turn Clyde, which only became a special one-off brew, but proved obviously to be so popular at the beer festival that it's now become one of our core beers.
My name's Luke. I work for Blue Monkey Breweries. My relationship with Blue Monkey Brewery is I'm their area manager. I manage their pub in Loughborough for them. Before working at Blue Monkey, before working for the organ grinder, I worked for 13 years in various pubs, restaurants, hotels, free trade. We're classed as a free house, even though we're tied to a brewery, because even though we have our own beer here that we buy in, we are then still free to buy everything from anywhere else that we want to buy it from. Well, the difference between working for a brewery and just a pub, you've got the support base. We've got a team of guys in the office that give us daily support, paperwork and accountants to sort it out on a weekly basis. Working in a pub, you don't have that support base as such. Still a micro-brewery, still chucking out about 20,000 pints a week, just over now I think. But yes, essentially it's a small microbrewery owned by a little family.
We opened our newest pub, which is called the Coffee Grinder, on Wednesday of last week, which I'm really hoping is going to be a huge success for us. Initially it would have been a pub, but because it was actually trading and doing so well as a coffee shop, we didn't want to disrupt the business. So it had a cellar, but it had been slightly converted to a coffee bar, doing incredibly well as coffee, but we've taken it and we've put one side in effect, which will be drinkers, beer drinkers, so they can come in anytime from 12 o'clock opening and have beers, wines, spirits, but the other side people can still enjoy the coffee bar side of it. Then around 4 o'clock it just becomes a pub. You can still have coffees and teas, of course, you know, they'll always be on offer, and pork pies, etc. But it's a pub, and it's, as I say, chameleon pub. It's a new concept, so fingers crossed it's going to work. We've been affected over the last 2 years, well, prior to 2 years, we were affected, and we obviously had to increase our prices. So there's always a review of beer tax, or what we call beer duty, and this usually takes place with the budget, alongside the budget, and we have to, as a brewery, be proactive in trying to reduce that down. We want to keep our beer prices down. If we don't get punters in the pub. So for the last 2 years, they've kept that to an absolute minimum. In fact, it went down by a percentage, which is terrific. And we try and pass that back on to the consumer at the end of the day.
As a company to work for, Blue Monkey are very good. There's a really good support base. I'm in daily contact with the bosses. And they're just overall just a very decent company to work for.
I want to say it's owned by by Trevor Vickers, and his family get involved in different sorts of ways, and we all feel part of his family. We would like to expand, as you can see from the documentary, and you've gone around the brewery, it's busting at the seams basically. So if it were to be bigger, we've got to find a bigger outlet for our beers, because what that will do is it will take us from a microbrewery, and once you go beyond that, your beer duty increases dramatically. So the sales would have to increase dramatically. So at the moment we're staying microbrewery, we're staying here, and we just decant the building every morning and then pull it all back in again. As far as the pubs go, I think the 4th pub, which is the Coffee Grinder, I think that may be it for now, but you can never say never. If a property came up that was in a particularly good area that we know we currently make sales in, if it came up at the right price, it might be a yes.